Can't keep my hands to myself. Hands to myself. Can't keep my hands to myself.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Elizabeth and today's video is going to be eyeshadow do's and don'ts. So if I look a little crazy right now, that is why. This side I am doing the don'ts and this side I am doing the do's. And just a little disclaimer, if I mention anything in this video that is a don't and you do it in your makeup routine, if it works out for you, then that is perfectly fine. I am not by any means saying don't do that. This is just how I learned how to apply eyeshadow and just tricks and tips that I've learned over the years, and I want to share them with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So first, I didn't do my eyebrows on camera, but I wanted to show the difference between the color, yeah. I wanted to show the difference between using the right eyebrow color for your hair color and the wrong eyebrow color for your hair color. So on this eye, I just did completely black. Like I just did a black eyebrow, and my hair is pretty close to a black color. A lot of people, I think it's really dark brown. Most people say it's like really, really close to black. But so if I were to do a color that is exactly like my hair, it would look very harsh like it does on this eye. So you always want to do a few colors lighter than your actual hair color. So I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in dark brown, which I believe is their either third to last or their second to last darkest shade. So a couple shades lighter than my natural hair color. So yeah, that just gives you a way more flattering look when it comes to your eyebrows, rather than just having a really harsh looking eyebrow. That will make it look a lot more natural if you go a few shades lighter than your actual hair color. I'm going to start off on the do's side and then we'll go on to the don'ts. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit more so you can see what I am actually doing. Okay, so I'm going to start off on my right eye, the do's side. So I'm going to start off by going in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer to prime my eyes like I always do. You can use an eye primer, you can use concealer, it doesn't matter, it's really just up to you. I specifically like using concealer just because I feel like it gives me a very even base and covers all the grossness in my eyes, and is also very hydrating versus the primers that I've used. They tend to just dry my eyes out even more, and then my eyeshadow gets flaky, and yeah, but anyway, so I'm just priming my eye with my concealer. And you just want to make sure that you really are dabbing and working it into the skin. And then after I prime my eyes, I always go in and set it with, you can either set it with a powder or a light colored eyeshadow, something that matches your skin tone, whatever you prefer, but you always want to make sure that you set it, just because it makes all the other eyeshadow that you're going to put on next very easy to blend out. If you don't set your concealer or your primer that you put on your eyes, it's going to make whatever color you set down right away really stick to wherever you put it and make it very hard to blend out. So just make sure that you go in and set that. So I'm going to be going in with my Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm going to be just playing around with it, really. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So I'm not going to prime this eye because obviously that's the don't side. So next I'm going to start off with the transition shade. You always want to start off with the transition shade in your crease because that'll make it so much easier for you to go in later and blend out your other colors. If you just start with whatever color you're going in with, it will be very hard to blend out. It's always important to start off with a transition shade, and it's also pretty important to build up the transition with a few different colors. I personally like to use about 2 or 3 to really get that dimension and carve out my crease, but it's really up to you. I just think that works best for transition purposes. So first I'm gonna go in with the shade Silk Cream. Looks like this. And I'm just going to run that in my crease in windshield wiper motions, or you can do little circular motions too. I mean, whatever you really are comfortable with. And I'm just going to take that on a Sigma tapered blending brush, an E35. This one is a brush that I specifically like to start my crease off with, but if you feel like you're getting too messy, you can start off with a little bit more precise brush, but I just like this one because I feel like it gets in there perfectly. So I'm just going to put this in my crease in windshield wiper motions. I also want to make note that when you're doing your transition and building up that crease and stuff, you want to hold your brush at the end of the brush versus at the very beginning of the brush, because then you'll get a very controlled application, and you want it to look really feathery and light. So if you hold it at the end of your brush, it's just going to make you have less control and apply it a lot more smoothly. Next, I'm going to go in with my Sigma E40, another tapered blending brush. This one is bigger, just to blend out the edges. This is not really necessary, but I always am super picky about my eyeshadow being blended, so I like to just go in there with a clean blending brush after I put on each layer and just blend it out a little bit more. So next, to darken up the crease a little bit more, I'm going to go in with Creamsicle. It's like, it looks kind of really more yellow on camera, but it's definitely like yellow orangey, and I'm just going to do the same exact thing, just dust that into my crease. And like I said, this is going to help the blending process so much more later when you start to go in with darker colors. Okay, and last, to darken up the transition, I am going to go in with Pukey, this orange brownie shade, and just do the same thing again. I'm going to start darkening it up. So to do that, I'm going to go in with a little tapered blending brush to be more precise. You want to use something small versus a big fluffy blending brush because it'll just get everywhere. So this is an E45 small tapered blending brush, and I'm going to start building up the outer corner with this color right here. So you really want to work in just small little motions in the outer corner. You want to start off small. You don't want to go too big because it's going to be very hard to blend out if you go too dark too soon. And you want to hold your brush more toward the tip of the brush now so that you can get a more precise application versus getting a very feathery application. To help blend that out a little bit, I'm going to go in with a clean little blending brush. This is just for my Morphe eye collection, and just in little circles blend it around. Okay, so now that I have it dark and somewhat blended out, I'm gonna go back in with some Pukey and just help blend out the top a little bit more. And this is why putting those other colors underneath really are going to help right now, because it'll make it all look cohesive. So to add some dimension, I'm going to put a little bit of black on the outer corner and just really focus it in that V. And of course, go back in and blend. There's a really nice transition between everything. And yeah, so on this eye, finally we can go in on this eye because we did not use any primer and we did not do any transition on this eye. So first off, we're going to go in on this eye with a very dense blending brush. You don't want to use a dense blending brush for this part. Like I mentioned earlier, for the dark outer part, you want to use a tapered brush. It makes for an easier application, and I will show you why. So as you can see, I'm already having a really hard time getting pigment to build up, as well as getting it to blend smoothly. It looks pretty patchy right now. So yeah, that's pretty much as good of a blend as I can get on that eye. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other eye and add a little bit of dimension on this eye, but to do that I'm going to go in with actually a fluffy brush. Again, this one is more tapered, but it's still really fluffy and not dense, so I'll show you how that can really mess up your eye makeup. As you can see, I'm having a real hard time getting a controlled application in my outer V. It's kind of just going everywhere. We are going to take Diva, this sparkly shade that kind of matches Enchanted, and we are going to put that on the inner corner. So when I am going in with sparkly colors and I'm not going in with Fix Plus and making it look super metallic and stuff, I just go in with my finger because to me that works best, and you'll see how it makes it really pop. Next, I'm going to go back in with a little tapered blending brush and just really get in that crease and make sure that that is all blended out. Now I'm going to go in on this side with the same color, but except this time I'm going to use a fluffy brush again, and you'll see how that kind of just gets everywhere. So it still shows up a little bit, but it's not as intense as this eye is. It's just a mess. Next, we're going to go in with our brows on a little flat shader brush like this. I'm going to highlight under my brow bone, and this will help you with any blending issues. If you went up too high, and also really just define your brow. A lot of girls like the highlight under the brow bone too, so if that is something you like to do, I don't do that very often, but if that is something you like to do, I will show you the right way to do that as well. So on a very little brush, I'm just going to hit right under the arch of my brow with some highlight. Right when I turn my head, you can definitely see that brow highlight. So on this other eye, I'm going to just take another shader brush, but this time I'm going to highlight underneath the whole entire brow and show you why that just is not a good look. So when you highlight like this under the brow, it doesn't really define anything. You just want like a fleck of highlight. So when you turn your head, it's like, ooh, boom. This is just like a mess. Alright you guys, so I'm all finished with the eyeshadow. I'm gonna go off camera, finish up my face, and then we will come back and talk about the lower lash line, and yeah. Alright you guys, so I finished up the rest of my face. I added a lash to this eye because that is what I would normally do to my looks, and I did that just to show kind of how adding a lash can really just pull a look together. I did not do anything on this eye. I'll zoom you in really quick. I mean, I just put mascara on this eye, and I also curled my lashes, but you can see how it just doesn't have that wow effect. So I'm gonna put eyeliner on both of my eyes, on both of my waterline. On this eye, I'm going to take that enchanted color that we used on our outer corner and just run it along my lash line. And to blend it out, I'm going to take a little pencil brush and just a light transition shade and run that right underneath it. And on this eye, we're not going to go in with any eyeshadow on the bottom lash line, just to show the difference, how putting eyeshadow on the bottom lash line really pulls the look together. Also, we're going to add some inner corner highlight to this eye. It just really opens it up and draws attention. Alright you guys, so here's the finished look. You can definitely see how this eye looks a lot more like I have been doing makeup for 10 years than this eye. This eye, honestly, my favorite part is probably the inner corner still, just because that color is beautiful, but it is just a hot mess. There's no blend to it. It's really blotchy. Yeah, it's just thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a few things from this video. Hopefully there's some new things that you can introduce into your eyeshadow application routine to help you get a better blend, better pigment out of your eyeshadows, whatever it is you're going for. I hope I helped you somehow. Don't forget to like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to show me some support. And if you guys have any more requests for me, leave them in the comment section below. I am always checking that. Make sure that you guys are always checking the description box so you can see my socials and so you can see what I'm keeping you guys up to date on. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your support and for your love. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Can't keep my hands to myself.